Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Today we got a couple of things to talk about. Over the weekend, Danny Sheehan, who's the longtime UFO disclosure advocate as well as an attorney, he works for he's the top dog at the Paradigm Institute. He was talking about locations of where these alien creatures are hiding out. He was talking about that over the weekend. And we're going to get into that, as well as an alleged Department of Energy whistleblower penned a little piece on Reddit, on UFO Reddit, and then he disappeared. Now, we don't know if it's true or not. We're going to get into that a little bit later. As a lot of you out there know, the Department of Energy seems to be heavily involved in the UFO cover-up. This is something that I've heard, I'm sure a lot of you have heard. Richard Dolan, the UFO historian, has talked about before. But we don't know if this person is a real Department of Energy employee or not. But it's definitely worth discussing. But anyway, let's start off. I want to talk about what happened with Danny Sheehan. There's an article here in today's the Daily Star, and the headline reads: "Aliens have two bases on Earth," says lawyer who claims to know their locations. During a new interview, a clip of which has gone viral on social media site Reddit, Sheehan has dropped another bombshell about the location of alien bases on Earth. A lawyer known for disclosing details of UFOs and alien visits claims to know the location of two alien bases on Earth. Danny Sheehan has been involved in bringing UFO whistleblowers to the United States Congress in recent years. He has been helping to provide explosive evidence of alleged government cover-ups regarding real encounters with extraterrestrial beings. And during a new interview, a clip of which has gone viral, Sheehan has dropped another bombshell about the location of alien bases on Earth. He said, "There are bases here on our planet, many of which are located high in the desolate areas in the mountains where very few people ever go, and beneath the sea. There's a major base in the Pacific that we're virtually certain exists off Baja, between Baja and Guadalupe Island." And actually, I'm going to play this little clip here where Sheehan was talking about this viral clip on Reddit. And of course, with all this stuff, as I always do, I will leave links in the description, so if you want to check these things out for yourself later. Anyway, here's the clip with Danny Sheehan.
Bases here on our planet, many of which are located high in the desolate areas in the mountains, where very few people ever go, and beneath the sea. There's a major base in the Pacific that we're virtually certain exists off Baja, between Baja and Guadalupe Island, potentially beneath the ocean floor. This has been monitored. We have hundreds of videos of the vehicles coming and going from that location and plunging into the sea and going down into and coming from this base. This is extraordinarily important for everyone to understand. Very importantly, there is some percentage inside our national security state apparatus that knows this to be true.
So there you go with that. And the article continues. It says, it basically reiterates some of the things he was saying there. And at the end of that clip, he said there are some inside our national security state apparatus that knows this to be true. And he goes on to say, and they are, in fact, engaged at the present time, attempting to shoot down these UFOs and taking captive the members who pilot those craft. It's an extraordinarily dangerous situation. So not only do we know where these creatures are hiding out, according to Sheehan, but what we're doing is trying to shoot them down, and we're trying to take them captive. I wonder how many we have captive right now. I wonder if we have any live aliens locked away somewhere, and we're giving them the treatment. I'd like to know the answer to that question. I'm sure a lot of us would. Anyway, the article continues. It says the full talk was posted by the New Paradigm Institute on social media for Global Disclosure Day 2024 on Sunday. He went on to claim that the UFO phenomenon is real and that it wasn't someone mistaking it for a bird or some other kind of technology in the form of a secret government program. And shockingly, he said, they are transporting organic live beings from some other planet in our galaxy or from some other dimension. They are coming and going from our planet and have been for some time. Well, a lot of us already know this. Yeah. But he's talking about two different places high up in the mountains and different places where people don't go, as well as underneath the ocean, underneath the ocean floor in the Pacific Ocean. That's very interesting, and there have been reports of this. There's been discussion about this. I mean, where else are they hiding out? They're here. It's not like, some people have the idea in their heads that people who who believe that there's an extraterrestrial / non-human intelligent presence on Earth. They think that we think that they're coming and going here on they fly here and then hang out for a day and then fly back to their planet. I don't think that's what's going on. I think they're here. I think they came here. A lot of them came here at some point in the past, and they stayed here for some reason, which we don't know. No, we don't know what that reason is. I mean, we could speculate all we want, but we actually really do not know what that reason is. But I think it's interesting. Again, it's nice to see people like Danny Sheehan, who's a very smart guy, an attorney, that's someone who represents whistleblowers, talking like this and just stating the truth. I mean, obviously he's talked to enough people where he knows this. He's seen enough evidence during his career that he knows that we're not alone, and it's nice to hear people like him with someone who has a background like a Danny Sheehan talking about this. He's always entertaining to listen to, and he's very serious. He's a very serious person when he's talking about this. He's not joking around, and he wants to see disclosure happen. That's just like a lot of us. He's sick of it. He's sick of the cover-up, and he wants to see disclosure happen, just like all of us out here. We're all tired of it. Now, moving on. I want to talk about this. Actually, today on Reddit, there was a post that was put up. Actually, I guess would have been. Let's see here. Yeah, it was actually earlier today, and the person who put it up, they deleted their account, but the post is still up there, and they're claiming that this person, what man or woman, is a Department of Energy insider, and that Jennifer Granholm, the Secretary of the Department of Energy, knows all about UFOs and aliens, even though publicly she states otherwise. In fact, as I've talked about quite a few times on this show, earlier this year, Granholm, during a hearing before a House committee, stated when asked that she didn't know anything. That the Department of Defense has indicated that there's no evidence whatsoever of UFOs or extraterrestrials in the United States of America. But according to this person, that's not true. That she's lying. And of course, if that's the case, then she was under oath in that hearing. Because when you go to speak to Congress, you do so under oath. Now, we don't know. Here's the thing. Now, we got to take this with a grain of salt, because we don't know if this is real or not. Is it someone who's just LARPing? Is it just some role player out there just playing a game, just making stuff up? Or is it a real person? I mean, this is similar to last year when that alleged molecular biologist went on Reddit and talked about how he was involved with alien autopsies. Now, there are a lot of people who really believe that whoever that person was legitimate because of how this person worded everything. Obviously, this person knows a lot about molecular biology, or he wouldn't be able to write the way he wrote. But still, you still can't. I personally cannot trust that 100%. I think it's very compelling, but I still don't know. However, on the other side of that, I do know someone who was a retired electronics engineer, and I've talked about this in a previous show, who believes that person is telling the truth, most likely, that person was a real person who actually did autopsies on aliens. But again, we just don't know. We don't know who the person is. We don't know what their name is. It could have just been someone making up fiction, and who has actual knowledge of of molecular biology, and that's why it comes off as so believable. We just don't know. But anyway, that's how we need to take this here from Reddit. And anyway, we'll go through it and then we'll talk about it. It's titled "Inside the Department of Energy: A Whistleblower's Account of DOE and Jennifer Granholm's Role in UAP Secrecy." And it says, by an anonymous source from within the Department of Energy. As an insider in DOE, whom has reported to congressional officials, I am stepping forward anonymously until farther, he says, it should have been further, until further notice, to expose a disturbing trend that I believe threatens government checks and balances, transparency, and undermines the right of the American people to know the truth about unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP. So I just want to point out, like, right off the bat, there's some errors in this. I mean, for one thing, a lot of us know at this point, it's not unidentified aerial phenomena anymore. It's unidentified anomalous phenomena. And I don't know if that's just an honest mistake. I mean, it doesn't mean that this person is lying. No, it's just something to point out and take into account. Anyway, over the past several months, I have witnessed firsthand a series of classified briefs and communications involving Department of Energy leadership, including Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm. These briefings were aimed at strategizing ways of obstructing the release of critical UAP-related information to Congress and other elected officials. This includes the illegal restriction of critical data from the Gang of Eight as it relates to UAP. The Gang of Eight is a group of people within Congress, a bipartisan group. That they're supposed to be privy to this kind of stuff. They're supposed to, be able to see these kind of things. And obviously, if this person is telling the truth, then information is being withheld from them. Anyway, I can no longer in any good faith remain silent. If allowed to continue, these actions will irreparably damage the public's trust in our government and defense industry as a whole. This can erode our political institutions upon which the concept of America is built, whilst preventing vital scientific discoveries from being shared with those sworn to protect our nation's security and interests and the people of this nation who have a right to know this truth. I just want to point out something in this paragraph. This person sounds British to me because people in America don't use the word whilst. America is built whilst. It's not while in here. That's how we say it, not whilst. But in another country, in the United Kingdom, for instance, it would be whilst. Anyway, Department of Energy's role in UAP research and data control through Immaculate constellation. Of course, we've been talking about Immaculate constellation recently. I did a entire episode about that. But anyway, this alleged whistleblower from the Department of Energy talks about that. Department of Energy plays a critical but often underreported role in UAP investigations. Given the department's oversight of nuclear facilities, energy systems, and highly classified research programs, many UAP encounters, especially those near restricted nuclear sites, fall under Department of Energy jurisdiction. The data gathered in these encounters is often funneled from classified systems through complex interagency pipelines. It is still unknown to many working intelligence that these pipelines are illegally compromised by the Department of Energy, allowing Immaculate Constellation, which operates outside of normal channels, to have direct access to any and all sensor data as it is transmitted. This program, which is using a form of AI, then goes through all of this and quarantines any UAP data as it is transmitted before reaching others, working intelligence and Department of Defense, who have a Department of Energy clearance. And then this alleged whistleblower goes on to talk about Granholm's involvement in secret discussions. What I am revealing now is not speculation, but first-hand knowledge. Throughout 2023 and 2024, Department of Energy leadership under Secretary Granholm's direction engaged in private discussions that sought to circumvent congressional oversight. This has been documented and provided to congressional officials. The primary goal of these conversations was to keep explosive information about UAP encounters and Department of Energy's involvement locked behind a curtain of classification by abusing the powers granted from the Atomic Energy Act. Speaking of the Atomic Energy Act, I'm going to bring something up with regard to that later. That's one of the reasons why a lot of whistleblowers, I believe, do not talk too much about what they know in public or to Congress. I was privy to several internal memos that framed these meetings as, quote, necessary precautions, end quote, to avoid releasing information that could, quote, disrupt national security interests, end quote. In reality, the objective seemed to be twofold: protect sensitive Department of Energy research projects from exposure and ensure that the full scope of UAP data remains tightly controlled within a small circle of power. At this stage, this is currently all I can legally disclose. However, rest assured, this is being addressed within Congress, the Senate, the House. Also, the amount of honest people coming forward within intelligence, Department of Defense, DOE, etc., as well as citizens taking legal action, will be the final nail. And then it ends up with finally with this. Why the public deserves the truth. The American people have a right to know whether their government is withholding information that could reshape our understanding of UAP and the world we live in. Keeping this data hidden not only undermines public trust, but also delays the scientific community's ability to study this phenomena openly. Now, of course, I just want to stop there for a second. That's something I talk about all the time. I think the most important reason for disclosure is so that the entire scientific community is aware of what the truth actually is, because they've been in the dark for all these decades. They're not studying it, and they're not taking it seriously for the most part. And we need our scientists taking this seriously and studying it. Anyway, continuing. Granholm's involvement in these secretive efforts is a betrayal of the principles of accountability and transparency that the Department of Energy is supposed to uphold. While national security concerns are real, they must not be used as an excuse to withhold critical information from Congress and the public. This moment is pivotal as public pressure mounts and congressional investigations push closer to the truth. It is imperative that whistleblowers within agencies like the DOE come forward to reveal what they know. If we fail to act now, these secrets may remain buried for generations. I am releasing this information anonymously because I am currently in active employment by the Department of Energy. I have reported to Congress as well as having had access to the 27-page document regarding Immaculate constellation. Granholm's influence within the Department of Energy runs deep, and the individuals involved in these efforts have proven they will go to great lengths to protect their interests. But I am not alone. There are others inside the Department of Energy who are deeply uncomfortable with the current course of action. I urge them to step forward through proper channels, as I have done, and speak out. Only through collective action can we hope to shine a light on these hidden operations and ensure that Congress and the American people receive the answers they deserve. This is a defining moment in our nation's history. Will we continue to live in the shadow of secrecy, or will we demand the truth no matter how unsettling it may be? The choice belongs to all of us. Now, it's interesting. Now, this person's intimating that he or she has been in contact with Congress and has been speaking out as a whistleblower. So maybe it's real. We just don't know yet. It will be interesting to see if the person who penned this actually steps forward someday as a whistleblower publicly and states, "Yeah, I was the one who put that there on the Reddit UFO Reddit subreddit." Yeah, today is actually a Reddit-centric day because a lot of the stuff I'm getting is from UFO Reddit, which, by the way, I don't really like too much. I'm not a big fan of UFO Reddit. I like the fact that there's a lot of good stuff that you find on there, a lot of good articles, but I don't like the comments on there because you don't know who you're talking, you don't know who you're dealing with. It seems to me when you go to UFO Reddit, there's bots that downvote certain comments into oblivion. It's like done by design. It just seems like a dishonest place to me. Otherwise, I mean, there are some good things that pop up on there, but for the most part, I find UFO Reddit garbage. The comments, you don't know who anybody is. Everyone's commenting, and that's fine. But the problem is, in a place like UFO Reddit, the amount of debunkers and skeptics on there it seems to outweigh the people who are genuinely interested for the most part. But let's check out some of the comments here under this, and let's see what it says. Okay. Cyber Chopper says, I feel like a line has been drawn in the sand and there are finally people in Congress who won't let this continue. This agency is ripe for being exposed. Yes, so the Department of Energy, I believe that they are heavily involved and have been heavily involved in the UFO cover-up for a long time because of atomic energy secrets. That's why they're able to use that as that excuse as a reason for this, and I'll get into that in a second. And then here's what somebody else wrote, and this is an interesting comment from Baron Greywatch. Says, well, sure, it could be a LARP, but I, for one, would still like to see where it goes and encourage the original poster to post more if possible. If it's honest, thanks. We need more people with courage and honor. And then somebody else named Easy Peasy says it calls out Granholm specifically and repeatedly, so if she ends up being ousted as a result of upcoming congressional activity, then I definitely look back at this post with a Otherwise, yeah, not much to say about it. Yeah, see, that's the issue with this, is that there's no name attached to it. I mean, anybody could have written this. Anybody could have written this, right? I mean, I'm actually a decent writer myself. If I wanted to really do something, I could write something up, right, and post it online completely anonymously, and people won't know whether it was real or not. I would never do something like that, right? But I could do it. Anybody can do this. Anybody with half a brain could do something like this, and that's the problem. That's the problem I have with anonymous posts like this. At the same time, you know, it's something to think about. I mean, because if it's true, you would have to think, right, that people in the Department of Energy, they're probably aware of this at this point, or they will become aware of it. So people within the Department of Energy are going to find out about this Reddit post and what it says about Granholm, and they're going to be interested to know whether it is someone from within their department or not. I mean, because if it is, they're going to be who knows what the action would be, but it would be interesting, wouldn't it? But we just don't know. We just don't know. But again, if it is true, say it is true, then that means Jennifer Granholm was lying to us earlier this year, under oath, by the way, when she was in that committee hearing talking about well, maybe in a way, I guess she can get away with saying, because what her comment was, let's think about this. Her comment was, oh, the Department of Defense says there's no evidence of UFOs and extraterrestrials in the United States. I'm paraphrasing. That was her comment. So I guess she can get away with that because that's what the Department of Defense has been saying. So I guess maybe she didn't. If she is lying, right, as she was lying about what she knows, she was only restating during that hearing what the Department of Defense was saying from what my memory tells me. And I believe I'm correct on that one. But anyway, what's interesting here is this was just something that was posted yesterday with regard to the Atomic Energy Act. Somebody had posted this on Reddit. This was posted by Tommy Shelby PFB. And the headline reads, according to Schumer's UAP Disclosure Act, UFO secrets are hidden under the Atomic Energy Act. Any leaking of any classified material under this act is punishable with imprisonment and or a death penalty. This is the one and only reason that nobody is leaking any actual evidence of the phenomena. Yes, no one from the government is leaking any actual evidence of the phenomenon. I actually talked about this. I know I've talked about this before on a show a while back, earlier this year sometime, about what it states in there. And with regard to this specifically, that there is a death penalty and imprisonment potential if for anyone who leaks anything. And that's a great comment because it's true. If it's one thing for David Grush to show up and testify before Congress or before a congressional committee and say that there's non-human biologics getting recovered from UFO crash retrievals and there's a reverse engineering program. It's one thing to do that, but it's a whole other thing to come traipsing into Congress carrying a dead alien corpse along with the piece of the Roswell flying saucer in its hand. That they're two different things. That's why everyone in the UFO community is always complaining that there's no evidence, that none of these people are bringing up evidence, but they're testifying under oath. That is the difference, and that's the difference I see in someone like David Grush. But according to the UAP Disclosure Act, this was a passage that this poster from Reddit had put in here. It says, legislation is necessary because credible evidence and testimony indicates that federal government unidentified anomalous phenomena records exist that have not been declassified or subject to mandatory declassification review as set forth in Executive Order 13526, blah, 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 due in part to exemptions under the Atomic Energy Act of 1954, as well as an overbroad interpretation of transclassified foreign nuclear information, which is also exempt from mandatory declassification, thereby preventing public disclosure under existing provisions of law. And one of those existing provisions of law is listed under here. It says the Atomic Energy Act of 1954 prohibits disclosure of information relating to nuclear energy and weapons. The act creates criminal penalties for anyone who, quote, communicates, transmits, or discloses, end quote, documents or information, quote, involving or incorporating restricted data, end quote, with the intent, quote, to injure the United States or advantage a foreign nation, or who has, quote, reason to believe such data would have that effect. Finally, this Atomic Energy Act, it creates a criminal prohibition on treason, punishable by death, imprisonment, or fine. The statute applies when a person owing allegiance to the United States levies war against the country or gives its enemies aid and comfort, a term which has been interpreted to include transmitting information to foreign agents. And so, if you were to bring, if a whistleblower, what this means is if a whistleblower were to present the actual end all evidence, to the public in whatever venue you want to say, whatever venue you want to pick here, in Congress or just during a press conference that they just decide to hold, then they could get arrested under these provisions and thrown in jail, because not only, and possibly be punished with death, because not only would you be telling everyone in the United States, all the citizens of the United States, you'd be telling the whole world. So that's why this thing hovers over potentially, I believe, and it's not. That's why it's listed here in this UAP Disclosure Act, which won't pass again apparently this year. The reason it's in there is because it's, why there's talking about this is because this hangs over the whistleblowers like a black cloud, because you don't want to be going to prison for the rest of your life, or worse, getting the death penalty and being accused of treason for revealing. What you know about recovered UFOs, because for some reason apparently it falls under the Atomic Energy Act. They wouldn't be bringing this up in this UAP disclosure language if it wasn't the case. So that's why they're bringing it up. So that's very interesting. So that's why, in a way, I'm so happy. I'm so happy that, a lot of us out there already have the evidence that we needed, the proof, the absolute proof that we could, shove in their faces anyway. Like, we already know that they're lying. We know you're lying because of this. We can always point to, what I'm talking about. I don't even need to bring it up. We always pointed it in their faces. Well, what are you going to do to me? I mean, this was all public domain stuff. I mean, it's the whole world should know now. Right, the whole world should know now, right? We all know, everyone knows. Maybe I should make a song like we'll call it "Everyone Knows." Everyone knows now. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna create a new song in the future called "Everyone Knows Now." Maybe that's my next stint as a musician. I'm gonna become a musician. I'm gonna create songs based on the proof that we've been pushing in the face of the public here for the last 6 months. We're gonna call it one of the first songs on the new album is gonna be called "Everybody Knows Now." Anyway, moving on. One more Reddit-centric thing I want to talk about is there was somebody else who posted something today. This was from Show Me UFOs. And this was pretty interesting. He puts on here United States National Archives adds 12 new reports of 1949 to 1953 UAP sightings from the United States Air Force. Yes, these were all military sightings of UFOs that occurred in 1949 to through 1953, and there was a listing of 12 of them here. I'll leave the link for this so you can check it out. But anyway, the Show Me UFOs writes, it looks like the United States National Archives is getting moving on processing UAP records, which is great news for all of us here on Reddit UFOs. Hopefully they keep the reports coming. The more data, the better. The National Archives appears to have added 12 new reports of UAP this morning, received from the Air Force. It's not clear if these records were part of the records released by the Air Force per the UAP Disclosure Act portion of the 2024 National Defense Authorization Act, as they're not listed in this record group 615, which is where one should expect to find those records. And what he's talking about there, of course, there was a portion of the UAP Disclosure Act that was included in the National Defense Authorization Act for 2024, but it was completely gutted and useless. But they are still supposed to provide records to the National Archives with regard to this. And then it goes on to say here, it's possible this is just backlog Air Force records that NARA, which is the National Archives and Records Administration, is now getting to separately from the UAP Disclosure Act. But nonetheless, new reports, always interesting. So here we go. And the guy has a listing of all different reports, and you could click on each report to see the actual report on the government websites if you want to. There's one here from, for instance, March 7th, 1953 that happened in Hamilton, Montana. And there's another one that happened in Michigan on April 20th, 1953. There's a bunch of really interesting cases here. As you can see, I'm scrolling through this. There's a lot here to digest, actually. And this poster, actually, as you can see, they're all there's a hyperlink for each one. You could click on it, and you could go to the actual report where you'll find more information. Let's just read one of them here that I thought was interesting. Yeah, there was one here from Alaska that I thought was pretty cool. August 20th, 1949, Alaska. On 20th August 1949, Captain Christian S. Bauer interviewed Mr. Mitchell of Tigvariak Island, Alaska, relative to the matter of flying objects. The information obtained from Mr. Mitchell was identical to that contained in the original report sent from Captain Bauer's office, plus the information that the objects were circular in shape. Mr. Mitchell further stated that he saw and heard jet-type aircraft at Ladd Air Force Base in February 1949 and is positive that the objects he reported were definitely not jet-type aircraft. He described the sound of the objects as similar to a large shell. So he's talking about a shell. When you put your ear up to a shell and that sound that a shell makes, that's what he's talking about. That's what it sounded like to him. And I did find some of the comments with regard to this pretty funny, actually. Here was from Solid Cranberry 2258. Hey, look at that. At this rate, they'll be up to the Nimitz episode by 2075. And then Bad Debt Collector wrote, well, I guess the upside is these older documented encounters cannot so easily be dismissed as commercial drones. And then Icarus Zero wrote back, says, no, they're just swamp gas being illuminated by a temperature inversion in the ionosphere being excited by higher than usual solar activity. Yeah. Well, as we all know, if you check out that listing of UFO reports that were just filed with the National Archives today, that they making public, you'll see that they couldn't have been drones. And these were all military sightings that were reported from 1948 through 1953. So very interesting, and it's nice to see that we're getting some old reports, military encounters. That's very nice to see. Excuse me, from 1949 to 1953. They couldn't have been drones back then, right? They just couldn't have been drones. That's what they like to. That's the trick they like to play on us these days. Oh, yeah, there was drones hovering over the ship. That's what it was. Drones, about 25 drones. We don't know how there was. We were in the middle of the ocean, 700 miles in each direction with no land, and we don't know what their base of operation was or anything. But there were drones from someplace. We're always getting lied to. I mean, that's what they like to change the language. Yeah, drones. We all know what a drone is, right? Drones aren't drones and flying saucers operated by non-human intelligent beings are two different things. They like to just play tricks with us. Obviously, we're being lied to on a scale that's you can't even comprehend sometimes. I don't know who the hell these people think they are, but I'm really, really sick and tired of them, and I think everybody should be. Anyway, I want to just say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.